sleep. Okay. Can you hear me?
Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. So how are you?
Well, how you doing?
Good, good. And your name's Alyssa?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Shelby, nice to meet you.
Hey.
Alyssa got me up super early.
I did.
Like 8:10 in the morning, but I'm super excited. I'm super excited to speak with you. I'm really glad that you reached out.
I did. I was playing, because I've been looking into respiratory therapy. I was playing just any RT video I could find in the background. I've been doing it for like weeks and weeks and weeks.
Right.
And most of it has been very clinical, very like educational. And then I heard somebody I wasn't paying attention. That's why I looked you up. I wasn't listening. And I was like, who is this girl? She is so funny. Like, who is this girl cracking jokes? Somebody is talking shit. Sorry, I don't know if I can say that, but
say whatever you want.
So I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay, all right. I'll like put that in my favorites to balance, because there are a couple other women who also just give very honest accounts of their experience. But what stood out was that you're in LA, and I'm from Dallas, but I lived in LA for 10 years. I've only been back here a few months.
Okay.
Like I'm moving back next summer.
Okay.
And I'm starting, my plan is to apply to an RT program in 2022.
Okay.
Because I need a year of prereqs.
Right. You definitely do. Are you going to apply? You said you're going to move back to Texas?
I'm in Texas right now.
You're going to move back to Cali?
I'm moving back to LA. I miss LA. I'm only here for the pandemic. My mother asked me to come home. That is the only reason that I'm here. I'm going back.
Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. Dope. So what do you got for me? So we're going to do like a little live Q&A with
I have questions.
Alyssa is one of my, so you found me on YouTube, and do you follow me on Instagram? We follow each other on Instagram.
I did. I felt a little creepy because I hadn't reached out to anybody, but I had been calling different hospitals to try and shadow someone, because that was a recommendation I kept hearing, but I couldn't shadow anybody because the pandemic's going on.
Yeah.
Which I get it.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, so I did. I have a little Google Doc up. I have my few little questions.
Oh, all right. Well, let's get to it. What do you got?
I'm getting into it. Just for you. I promise. Promise. One moment.
Okay, cool.
I really appreciate you getting up.
Oh no, I'm more than happy. Honestly, I'm more than happy. I'm really excited that you reached out.
Yeah. Also, we're around the same. I'm 28. I'm about to be 29. We're in the same age range.
Yeah.
I went to USC. That's why I moved to LA.
Okay.
I graduated.
You went to school there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
So I did my bachelor's. I finished that, but then I came home, or not. I've been home this year, but I recently realized that I wanted to do something different.
Okay.
And from what I heard in the background when I was cleaning my room, you're like, I'm on my grind. I'm about my money, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's something I relate to.
Yeah. Well, first, what interests you about respiratory? Like, what's making you feel like this might be the thing for you?
I was wondering about that too. I think I love RT so much and want to be an RT so badly because it fits in with how I already move in the world. Like I had a little bit of an internal struggle because I'm not extremely passionate about medicine, but I don't think you have to be extremely passionate about medicine to practice it. RT falls under the umbrella of all the things I love. I have no problem working with people. I'm not easily grossed out. I'm very interested in medicine. I appreciate it. It's not really just for a paycheck, but I'm a biology freak, freak of nature. Truly true. I don't do math very well, but I do love science.
Okay. Okay.
And it was just, I was Googling, what I did honestly was I was Googling what is a well-paying 2-year degree. Then I was looking at all these different things, but RT stuck with me the most because everything that was required, that is everything that I love. And then I was like, well, school is not the same as what it would be to be an RT in real life. School is only 2 years. RT is a whole career. So then I was going towards people who are already RTs and watching those YouTube videos and like reading articles about why people don't like RTs or are not enamored with it, because I wanted to know what I'd be up against. And I was like, no, I love this. Like, I love everything about this: pharmacology, physiology, anatomy, chemistry, medical terminology, all of this. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. All right. Cool. It sounds like it's good. I mean, I honestly, I feel everything that you're saying, because respiratory, like, it's still a low key profession, if you will. But in all reality, like, we only get paid a couple dollars less than the nurses, and they have to do a fuckload more than we have to. So
you're being real.
Yeah, they're like low key, like, I mean, no disrespect, but they're like whole ass like babysitters. Like, they have to do everything. And we just go in the room and do our therapy, and then we get on. We get a lot of free time throughout our shift. I mean, it is what you make of it. You could use your free time to like learn new shit or whatever, but we do get a lot of free time. And we get paid pretty good, especially in California, Southern California. And I always tell people, like, now that I'm a respiratory therapist, I realize like that traditional shit, like you were saying, is out. It's really out. Like, we go to school for 2 years. It's not, and I realize that it's not how long you go to school for. Like, doctors and everybody stays in school for like 9-10 years plus, you know what I mean? Nurses need that 4-year degree. Like, it's really not how long. And people feel like a lot of these prestigious like professions, like a lawyer and all this shit, like, that's just something, I feel like it's just noble. Like, it's just the title that comes along with it, and families can be proud of you and all that shit. But in all reality, I don't feel like it's about how long you're going to school for or what type of degree you're getting, whether it's a master's, a doctorate, a bachelor's, whatever. I just feel like it's about picking your profession wisely, picking something that might be a little lucrative, picking something that, you know, it's well paying. And like you said, I went to school for 2 years, and I probably make more than lawyers. I probably make more than
You probably do. You probably do.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily, huh?
I said, yeah, you got receipts.
Yeah, I definitely have receipts. I got pay stubs, receipts, whatever. But I don't think that like the traditional, like, you know, like the degrees are just like pieces of papers at the end of the day. And it's dope. Respiratory therapist is really dope because we get paid for our skill, even though we don't always have to use it. So it's like, if shit goes down and hits the fan, like, I know what to do. I can save a life, but I don't always have to do that. So I really, really like that. And when it comes to math and science, like, honestly, I think I took elementary algebra like 3 times. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm really bad. It was like to a point to where they were like, look, you get one more chance to pass this class. If you don't, you gotta take it somewhere else. Like, it was really bad. I'm really, really bad at math. And you can ask, like, my best friend will tell you, she was literally telling me last night, because I'm trying to start this business. And she was like, nah, like, I was like, my mom got to keep the books because I will totally
do it.
But yeah, so math, that kept me away from the science and like the medical profession for a long time, because I felt like intimidated, to be honest. Like, I thought I had to be really good at math, and I thought I had to be super smart, like way smarter than I thought I was at the time. And I mean, I've always been smart. I just really hated to apply myself. I really didn't want to do the work. But when it comes to math, they actually just changed, I think like 2 years ago, or the class after mine. So like 2000, I don't know, 19 or something, they just changed the rules to where you can use calculators on your tests. So
I saw that for
yeah,
the board.
all the formulas and shit that I had to memorize. I mean, you got to remember the formula, but you don't have to, like, you know what I'm trying to say? You could actually use calculators to make sure that your shit is accurate. So
it's a whole different thing. That's a whole different skill set to ask somebody to remember a formula as opposed to just being able to apply your calculator. Because I understand that the profession is the one thing I truly have picked up on, because I went hard on RT, like have been obsessed with it for the past few months.
Good.
Because I'm like, I'm going back to school. And when I finished college, I was like, I don't want to go back to school. I don't want to go to school. I'm not trying to do that anymore. No, I went to USC. I got a degree in theater. It was great. It was wonderful. But school was hard. I was working. I was in school. It cost a lot of money. But the one thing that I have picked up on is that RT is in a very transitional phase. Like the school that I'm looking at applying to is Santa Monica Community College. I really want to do USC just because it's close to where I used to live and will be living again when I go back. I know they have the partnership with East LA. I forget. I don't know. I think you went to where were you, Antelope or something?
I went to ABC. Yeah, I went to Antelope Valley College. Yeah.
I promise I'm not a stalker. I was looking at the programs. I was looking at around LA.
Yeah.
But I understand that they're moving towards a bachelor's. I keep getting on the East LA website and the SMC website, and I can only find certain. I've been trying to figure out what requirements I need to go, like what my prerequisites are to go to the program. I've spoken to the SMC counselor 3 times for the health professions. I've emailed the professors that work at both campuses, and everyone is like, we can tell you to take these classes, and I hope they still apply. I'm like, what do you mean you hope? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna be pissed off if I take a class.
Oh God.
No, God.
I think that I haven't heard any type of news. I mean, we've been hearing that respiratory is supposed to transition into a bachelor minimum degree since before I got into school. Like it's been in talks, but I don't think they have anything set in stone. I don't think that they changed any rules. And even if they do, you would kind of like be grandfathered in if you already started the process or finished the process. You're not gonna be in the middle of a program and then they're gonna be like, okay, now it's a bachelor minimum and you gotta go to school for an extra, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, you said it.
I don't think that they're gonna do that. So I think if you started like now or next year or whatever, I think you'll be fine. I've heard that too, but I mean, it's like when they moved RRT from being certified. So you used to be able to be certified, like a CRT. I actually work with CRTs. They're certified. I'm registered. Registered just means like you have a higher skill set, you know a little bit more, but that rule to be a minimum registered, I don't know when the hell that came into play, but all the older employees, my coworkers that I have that are like maybe 50s, 40s, you know what I mean? 60s and stuff, they are certified.
Yeah, they're just CRTs. Not just CRTs. They're not just CRTs, but yeah.
Yeah, they're CRTs, and I mean, they know how to do everything I know how to do. They probably know more than, they do know more than me. They've been doing it longer than me. They've experienced much more. So I mean, I don't really think that matters. I think it's just like a requirement. They're just trying to make it like a more higher up degree. So I wouldn't really worry about that.
Yeah, they're aiming for prestige. And I also feel you on when you said you had to take algebra a couple times in math. I know that I was trying to pull certain classes from my bachelor's program and apply that towards RT. And the counselor was like, okay, well, you have your bachelor's, so you probably have college math and college. I was like, ma'am, I was a theater major. I didn't take math.
Yeah.
My general education was like East Asian studies because I wanted to study something that was interesting. So I wasn't taking like what, and then I found out they were like, okay, well, you need to have English to take anatomy. I'm like, I took English. sent them my transcript, transferred my USC transcript to SNC. They're like, yeah, you have to have a C- in English.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or you have to have a C. I'm sorry, I misspelled. I said you have to have a C, and I had a C-. So I am taking English again because 10 years ago I got a C- in English.
Look, honestly, don't think about any of that. Don't think about where you came from. Don't think about how hard it's going to be. Honestly, just get to work. Just do the work. Because what I found out is like if you get in your head too much, it'll discourage you before you even try. And I did that for a very long time. I used to be like a straight up like party girl. Like all I wanted to do, all I did was party and like just drink and go out and get fucked up. And I used to work at, I think I told this story on one of my YouTube videos, but I used to work at Nissan, and then I just realized that the life that I want, I can't get doing what I was doing. So I knew I had to go back to school, and I thought about the amount of years it would take, and it was like, listen, if it's a 5-year process, it's like, okay, either I start it and be done in 5 years, or I'm going to look up in 5 years and be in the same position. And it'll be like, either way it goes, the 5 years are going to pass. You get what I'm saying? Like either way it goes, time is still passing. It's like, when you look up at the end of it, what do you want to be able to say? What do you want to be able to do? How do you want to be able to live? And that's just what you got to keep your mind on, because I was absolutely miserable in school because I'm such a social bird and a socialite and an extrovert, and I had to be indoors, like literally sacrificing. I passed up so many, like, so many outings and so many things, and it was miserable. Like all I did was just stay in the house and study, pass my shit. But that's how I knew that respiratory was the thing for me, because it's the only thing or school subject or major that I've chosen that's kept me engaged and kept me engaged for the long run. And it's something that I was able to finish. So I know that it was the right thing for me. I never wanted to finish something so bad in my life. So if you're attracted to it in that way, and you're really intrigued by it, I definitely would say, let that feeling, lead you through your path, and let that passion lead you through your path, because I mean, great things, will be waiting for you at the end of the day.
Exactly. And I really feel you on two things. One, that like, just whether or not you use your knowledge every day, you always have it in your back pocket. And that appeals to me. And I was not a party girl at all. I wasn't a party girl, but also, I don't know, people shame party girls. Nothing wrong with wanting to party, but I wasn't a party girl, and college was hard. But I feel you when you say you knew that the life you were living, it wasn't working for the life that you wanted. And that's where I am. Like, I don't regret what I studied. It was great because I didn't have to sit for 8 hours a day. I think that actually helped. I feel like it must have been very hard to be a business or a communications major. It was a lot.
Right.
Specifically, theater is not an easy major, but from the way my brain works, it was way better to know that for 4 hours a day, I was up, I was in movement, I was in dance, I was in voice, I was in this and that. And so I didn't have to sit and like put my head in a book.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly believe the only reason I graduated is because I was a theater major, because I was allowed to just be who I was. And everybody doesn't get that privilege, because people don't encourage their kids to go to school for like the arts very much.
For stuff like that, exactly.
Stuff like that, they don't. And I'm like, when I look at my friends who are anthropology majors, I feel that I know more about humans than any anthropology major, because I was just allowed to be a human. Right. But I do, and also like when you said like the 5 years is going to pass regardless. So when I first started looking at RT and I saw it was a 2-year program, I was like, 2 years in the grand scheme of my life is nothing. It's nothing. Even like, no joke, I really doubt it will happen. Honestly, Shelby, I doubt it will happen. I doubt that I'll hate it. I actually think I'm going to love it and be obsessed with it, because I spent too much time thinking about it. But even if I did hate it, which I won't, 2 years is nothing. But then I was like, okay, so this isn't actually 2 years. This is 3, because prerequisites. And then I was like, well, that's
3
not
or 4. Mine actually going to a community college, mine ended up being 4, because I don't know what schools you're looking at, but at my school at Antelope Valley College, you had to just have all of your science done before you applied. So with that being said, it's biology 101, which is like basic biology. You have to have chemistry 101, that's basic chemistry. You have to have anatomy and physiology. So you have to have those 4 done and completed. The grades have to be out before you apply. So with that being said, that's that's 2 years, because 1 a semester, basically. Yeah. I was taking 1 a semester because I didn't want to overwhelm myself, because I know how I am, and school, I really hate school anyways. And so if I overwhelm myself, I would have failed or did something like that. I did also complete, during those 2 years, I did also complete every other general ed course that I had to take. That way, when I got into the program, the only thing I had to focus on was respiratory classes. I didn't want to combine and be in a respiratory program, but then also have to go to, like you said, like English class, or you know, also have to go to like art class. And also I didn't want to be bothered with that. So during the 2 years, since I was in school for the 2 years anyways, I just made sure that I did all my other prereqs. So while I was taking biology, I was taking communications and art and, you know, whatever else I had to take, and all that stuff. But as far as Antelope Valley College program goes, you only need your science completed before you apply. So I took all my classes. When I was done with physiology, that's the last one, I think like 2 weeks after school ended, the grades came out. I was like stalking that website. So the very same day, because it's first come, first serve at my school as well. It's not like best grades or best anything like that. It's first come, first serve. So like the day the grades came out, I went up to the school and I filled out my proof of like finishing prerequisites and all that. And then I applied. And then I think they let 18 in every fall at my school. They let 18 in every fall, and I had just, you know, I had got in. So, and then the rest was really history. So I think you just really need to research what schools, like you say, and their requirements. But it should be on their like basic websites, like, you know, like when you're looking at respiratory. Okay.
And
some of them do microbiology though, which I don't know if I'm fucking with that, but
I don't think I'm fucking with any of it, but I'm gonna do it. The thing is though, the benefit that I had was transferring classes from my bachelor's towards as SMC. I'm looking at the SMC, ELAC, the East LA program. If they take 50 people a year, but East LA takes 30, SMC takes 20.
Okay.
And so that's why I was like talking to counselors and all this stuff, because what my plan was to cram everything into the fall and this upcoming spring.
Okay.
In terms of prereqs, and then apply. That is not realistic, and they let me know that. I was like, all right. In reality, I have 7 classes I have to take. No joke, 7 before I can even apply.
Hey, so, listen, it's doable.
It is.
You want it, and you'll make it happen.
It is doable, and I'm not gonna cram it. I'm taking English in a winter session, which is only 5 weeks.
Like a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, and the only reason I'm taking English in a winter session is because I have to. They won't accept my C-.
Right.
Instead of my a C. It is what it is. You're right. You see, yeah, you're right. You get in your head. So I need to take English, and I've already enrolled for the spring for anatomy and medical terminology.
Nice.
So that's 3 classes down. And this summer I will take.
You have to take medical terminology at your class at your school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And because when I was on the SMC website, it was like check back soon. The prerequisites aren't up yet, and it's still like that today. I checked again this morning. They have it for last year, but not for this year. Granted, everyone's very busy given
COVID.
So I emailed the head of the RT program at SMC and asked him specifically in like a 1-sentence email, what do you suggest I take? And he gave me the exact class, the course numbers and everything.
Good.
And I was like, thank you. Called my counselor. She told me my prereqs. So 7 classes over the course of a year is nothing, because I was taking 6 a semester at SC just to graduate on time.
Okay.
Nothing. So that's what I'm going to do. 1 year of prereqs, apply, cross my fingers, not to just one school, at least a couple of them, and then move on from there. But I'm like crazy about RT. The number of intubation videos I have watched, and it's not even normal.
Honestly, that seems like a really big thing. Like, honestly, it was like I couldn't wait to like pop my intubation cherry, like no lie, because
intubation cherry.
I was like really, I was obsessed with it too. And I was like, oh my God, like I could not wait to do it. I didn't actually assist the intubation all through school. I didn't assist the intubation until I was actually a RT and I was training. And that's why I love the hospital that I work at right now, because they have my full-time job, they actually have a new grad program. My manager is like so amazing. I love her so much, but she wants to give new grads an opportunity, and she really does change like our lives, dead ass. And we have, honestly, one of my coworkers just reached her 45th year. She was a new grad there. She's only worked there, and she's actually going to retire at the end of the month. So, or the end of December. So, I mean, like,
y'all like, in love. Y'all in love.
Yeah. Like, she pours into her employees, and it's like, we give it right back. So at my job, there's a 3-month new grad program. So and she starts you off at full time. She's just amazing. She just knows that it's hard out here for players. So she's just like, she gives you full-time benefits, all that stuff, and you get 7 hours of PTO every paycheck. We get like really good rates. And so the training is 3 months. So it's 3 months. And so, of course, it's like a little extended length, and you go at your own pace pretty much. Some people need more work in different areas. I needed more work in, I would say, like, it was just certain stuff. Because I'm from the Antelope Valley, like, our hospitals weren't that big. Mm-hmm. And maybe there was some equipment that we hadn't even used or something like that. So when it came to like doing basic floor treatments, there's something called like an easy PAP I never used. I never had used like an IPPV before, which is going out of style. But like there were like different pieces of equipment I didn't know. So I took like I don't know, I took 3 months to train, and I probably didn't need that long, but I'm glad I took that long, because I was ready to go on my own by that time.
Yeah.
I was, like, get off me, like, let me go. I'm ready. I'm annoyed now. I don't want to be with you no more. Like, yeah. I was ready to go on my own, and I felt really prepared. And yeah, like at the end of the training, like I had told my supervisor, like, just put me in the ER. Just keep me in the ER. No, for real. I was telling him, like, I'm really still nervous to be in the ER. Like, my heart beats fast when I feel like I'm going to be in there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting uncomfortable and I'm getting anxiety. And I was like, I don't want to be like that. I definitely have coworkers, not really male, but female, who they don't fuck with the ER. Like, they don't want to go in the ER. They're scared of it. They don't know what to do. And it's, like, if they have to go in the ER, like, everybody's like on fucking like watch, like, okay, like if we hear a trauma overhead, like, we got to go down and help her. You know what I mean? And there's just people who will like call out if they have to be in the ER, like it's serious. So I didn't want to be like that. So I told my supervisor, just keep me in the ER until, I don't want to be one of those type of people. I just want to face my fear like head on. And so I was in the ER for maybe like 3 months straight. And so I did all type of stuff. I saw all type of stuff. And so now, like, I'm okay. But
yeah, okay. Congratulations.
That's probably it. You just gotta like speak up for your own growth and what type of RT that you want to be, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I've been thinking about a specialty. Also, you tackled your I do it too. You charge, like, the second you see something the second there's something I don't want to do, I'm like, I don't let me just do it. Let me just like.
But I'm not like that. I'm not like that. Like in real life, if I don't like some shit, but I knew, like, this is just different. Like, it's my career. It's something that I like to do. I take it seriously. You know what I mean? Like, and it's my rapport and my reputation on the line. So I definitely handle myself a certain type of way at work, because I mean, like, this were my checks, like literally my livelihood is coming from this thing. So I gotta be on point, like literally.
That's another thing. That is a question I had for you, because when I was thinking about RT, I told you one of the first things I looked at was, what are reasons why people who are RRTs don't like it?
Okay.
Because I need to know, because the devil you do know. And so I needed to know, like, what can I not tolerate? Because that could change. I saw a trend of people who are RRTs switching to being a nurse or being a PA. I was like, I don't want that. And also just to bring it full circle, when you were talking about the amount of responsibility that nurses have, I am not interested. I am not interested in being a nurse.
Me neither.
At all.
You can have that.
You can keep that. You can keep it. You don't need it. But I'm not even judging. I'm like, that's okay. RRT suits me. Also, from what I understand, every hospital is different, but you move around a lot. As an RT, am I off? Or from what I understand, like nurses stick with their patients for the whole shift.
Yes.
But RTs move through the hospital more?
Yes. Okay, right. So let's explain. So the first thing you said was, what are some things that I would say that I don't like about being an RT?
Yeah, I would like to know that too, yeah.
Honestly, I love what I do, but I don't consume myself by it to the point to where like it makes me unhappy. Like I'm the type of person, like you follow me on Instagram, you know, I'm doing other shit. I got other dreams, I got other goals. So, I mean, I think about respiratory, but I also will bring my other work to work so that on my downtime I can do it. So I'm not really too pressed about, I'm pressed about it, but it's something that I do. It's not who I am.
Yeah.
So I would say that the most common complaint probably in respiratory would come from no growth. And I say no growth, and that's why people would move to nursing, move to PA, because they're looking for more money, maybe more autonomy, maybe more, you know, decision making or whatever. As far as being a respiratory therapist, there's like a little level of hierarchy, like obviously the doctors, the nurses, the RTs. So I think that the lack of respect people might feel can be annoying. But then again, I 100% believe that it depends on the type of person that you are. If you walk into your shift and you're, hey, how are you? My name's Shelby, I'll be your RT for night shift. If you're saying this to your nurses on staff, you're establishing, again, your rapport, you're establishing a relationship, you're communicating, you're letting them, hey, just to let you know, I'm ER backup tonight. I have this floor. I also have 4 West, 6 West, whatever. So you won't be seeing much of me tonight, but if you need me, call me. My number's on the board. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Having that communication, so where they're like, oh, okay, cool, got you. And they'll really call you, and then you really show up, you know what I mean, when something's going on. I think there can be, with some people and some stories that I know, like there can be just a lack of respect. Like some nurses do overstep their boundaries. Maybe they're new nurses, maybe they're older and more experienced and they feel like they just know more things, but they tend to call you, sometimes they can call you and confirm that you gave a treatment and you're like, yeah, you know what I mean? Or they can confirm, or if your patient, like we have something called PRNs, which means as needed. So sometimes people won't be on scheduled breathing treatments. They'll be on like an as needed, meaning the indication for a breathing treatment is if you hear wheezing. So the nurse will be like, oh, can you give so-and-so a PRN? They're coughing. And you're like, well, for real, you're like, that doesn't mean that they need a breathing treatment. It's like they're always volunteering your services when patients don't need it. Like put it that way. And you're like, I don't want to go do that. But I mean, you're at work, but it's like, you know, so it's like, you know, if you're at home and you're coughing, it's like, do you need a breathing treatment? Like, no, you don't. Like sometimes you just got to cough. Sometimes some shit got stuck in your throat. Sometimes, sometimes you just need a cough. Like it's overboard. And they're like, oh, this patient just has a cough and blah, blah, blah. You're like, okay, did you give them any Robitussin yet?
Oh my God, something got stuck in your throat. And you know what though, from what I've seen, from like, because now I follow a bunch of RT accounts and I like see the memes. I've seen, this is like, you are the 45th person I've heard say like a patient will come in with a broken leg and the doctor will order albuterol.
Oh, you'll see dead ass. There'll be a patient who got in a car accident and has fractured ribs and all that. And they're on Q4 breathing treatments and their lungs are clear and they're like,
albuterol. I have asthma. I grew up as a kid with asthma. I went to asthma camp. I did it all. And I'm telling you, like, albuterol does not solve everything.
No, really, honestly, it does work. Okay, so albuterol like reverses and a bronchoconstrict, like it reverses bronchoconstriction. Like, but if the bronchoconstriction is due to an infection, then you need to give an antibiotic for that.
Yeah.
If the bronchoconstriction is due to, I don't fucking know, something else, like whatever, then cool. But a reversible airway constriction, that's what albuterol works for. It doesn't work for like RSV or like pneumonia. Like it just doesn't work for shit like that.
I hear you. I once had a panic attack that was like breathing, and I remember my friend was like, "Do you need your inhaler?" And I couldn't speak, so I couldn't tell her that wouldn't help, because if you've had a panic attacks, they take different forms, obviously, but an asthma attack and a panic attack are two different things. And I know what's going to work. And like a nebulizer was not going to help. It wasn't going to help me. And if somebody had tried to hook me up to it, like if somebody had tried to administer some Zopanex, I would have had to throw hands, because I knew that it wasn't going to work.
Yeah,
but
literally.
Also, I'm trying to stay on track because you're giving me a lot of knowledge. Also, like in terms of you saying some of the problems, like one reason why RTs aren't necessarily happy is because there's not necessarily room for growth. That don't matter to me. I mean, in my head, I'm like, there is growth. The growth doesn't have to be within as an RRT. Like there's growth in other ways. I'm not trying to grow. I don't want to be a supervisor. No, thank you. I just want to be a good, reliable, educated RT who is dependable and can be used for the things that I can be used for. I don't know how
you have RT is good. If you have other dreams you're trying to follow, but you want to live well while you're in pursuit of it, put it that way.
And I want to be an RT on a personal level. Like, even though I am not extremely medically passionate, I was never a big Grey's Anatomy, ER fan or anything like that. On a personal level, there is something that like is satiated by knowing that I would have the skills to help somebody breathe. That is on a very personal level. That does me.
Yes, and it definitely, on a large scale, it definitely, when you think about it, it definitely does do that, because you're going to be put in many situations where you're going to have to exactly do that, where you'll have to breathe for somebody. And you end up taking it for granted. I mean, I'm not by any means jaded or anything like that, but I do think that we experience certain things frequently enough to where you learn how to like protect yourself mentally, emotionally. But when I do think about it, and I do think about the skill set that I have, it's truly, it's a blessing. Like I feel like that's noble enough. I feel like that's something that I like to say that I can do. And if you think about it, it's like when you're managing a life support machine and you have the ability to change how many times a minute that they're breathing, like they're actually taking a breath, you know what I mean? 12, 14, 20, 24, 20, whatever. How many breaths a minute can they take? You can set that. How much oxygen do they get? You can set that. The tidal volume, meaning how big of a breath that they take in, you can determine that. How quickly they take the breath in, whether it be a long, slow inhale or a quick zip, you can set that. You can walk up to the machine and press a button and hold someone's breath if you want to, like literally. You can do all of these things, and there's so many different ways you can help like breathe for the patient based off of what's going on and what their blood gas is looking like, and you'll learn all these things. But we definitely do a lot. And when it comes to putting people on life support, we do that. When it comes to pulling the plug when the family's ready to take them off, we do that. So, I mean, there's definitely really good things that come out of this. And then, you know, when you have someone that's like near death and then you hear a story or you go see them and they're better and you're like, oh my God, like I couldn't wait to talk to you. Like I had this one patient who had the flu. Oh my gosh, she got the flu so bad. She was in her 30s and she was literally on life support. I think she had like open heart surgery. She ended up with that hole in her throat, a trach. She ended up
trach.
She lost all her hair. Like she was really like literally near death. She was on ECMO. ECMO is a really like invasive, like almost to the end of your life type of thing. And she ended up being off of that. And I ended up talking to her the day before she went home. And I was just telling her, like, I'm so proud of you. Like, you are such a fighter. And I just couldn't believe that, like, she was actually getting ready to go home. And then I was telling her about COVID, and I was like, okay, like your husband got to do all the errand running and shit, because you literally, like, you know, you're definitely immunocompromised.
You are immunosuppressed, stay your ass at home, don't go nowhere.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. But it's good things. As far as like the growth, like I was saying, you can move up.
I don't wanna.
Okay. You can move up and be like a lead, a supervisor, a manager, but right now they're tending to require more of a higher level degree, if that will. Like you will have to probably have your bachelor's in respiratory therapy or your bachelor's in healthcare management and all that stuff. And I don't necessarily want to do that. So it's the growth. It's the growth, because you can't really, for nursing, there's so many other different, you can be an OR nurse, a labor and delivery nurse, an ICU nurse, an ER nurse, a floor nurse. You can be in the PACU, meaning like after the post whatever surgery nurse. You can work at an outpatient facility. You can be at Kaiser checking people in, doing their vitals. You know what I mean? You can do so many. You can have your own this, your own that. You can be a nurse practitioner. You can do so many stuff with a nursing degree. It's very versatile. You can move from bedside to actually being a manager. That's where the growth and the desire for more and all that shit comes around. But respiratory, you're pretty much going to be a respiratory therapist or a lead, a manager. I mean, there might be some professions where you can like at Children's Hospital in LA or whatever, a Children's Hospital, like where you can fly on the helicopter, so you could be, certified to fly the helicopter.
Air trauma rescue or whatever.
Right, but after COVID, I'm not fucking the helicopter.
I'm not getting in a helicopter. A helicopter, no, because the people getting in
Wait, did you see on the news the other day that at USC, the helicopter crashed on the roof? The helicopter crashed on the roof. The helicopter crashed on the roof. They were bringing a heart in for a heart transplant, and they crashed on the roof.
You thought you lying? I don't believe you. Are you for real?
Dead ass. This was like 2 weeks ago. We got all these emails and all that, and then I think like the doctor got up or whatever, and then he tripped and dropped the heart. Anyway,
oh my God.
But they still went through with the heart transplant. They still got it done.
Not funny.
But when we're done with this call, go look it up. That shit literally crashed on the roof of the hospital.
USC is the ghetto. I cannot even deal. That sounds right.
It crashed on, no, but it's like any little bit of wind, any little bit of anything really messes with the aerodynamics of it, and I don't want to be caught in a situation like that.
I'm just not getting in a helicopter. I have no fear of flying. No joke. I fly all the time. No big deal. I'm just not getting in a helicopter to do my job. I'm just not doing it
every day, all day long. And some of my coworkers, some of my classmates, I think some of them work for long-term facilities. So they have a lot of trach patients. I really don't like, not that I don't like trach patients. It's just that it could be really nasty.
Yeah, it means a whole throat. So yeah, probably.
Yeah, it'll be pussy and stuff like that. But they'll do long-term care. I wanted to stay away from that because you don't really get to practice in your whole scope of practice, like being in the ER and intubating and doing all that stuff. And you know what I mean? You don't really get to do all that. So I didn't really want to work at a long-term. Some of them work for a home care. They equipment people. So if somebody needs a machine or something delivered to their house, they'll be the ones to bring it to the house, show the person how to use it, troubleshoot it, all that good stuff. And then there's some people, I think they work for transport, meaning they'll transport patients from hospital to long-term facility care or facility to facility or facility home. So they'll be in the ambulance or whatever with the patient. I think there's some that I work at the hospital with who I think it's just transport. Yeah, I think it's transport. Because I don't think they're actually in the ambulance doing 911 calls. I don't think we roll like that. But I do think we're in an ambulance for transports. But yeah, the growth, I would say, really probably stops people. The pay, the pay in some areas. I happen to work at two really good hospitals, so I don't have that problem. But I do know that there are certain hospitals, you know, that might pay or start like up here where I'm at. I think they start at like, I don't know, like 27 or something like that.
I did. I looked deeply into the pay, and I was looking at travel RT jobs. That is something that I've planned it out. I wrote it down, put it in my head, everything. I'm 28 now. And in my head, I'm like, okay, 1 year of prereqs. In 2 years, I'll be an RT. So at 32, I'd be a practicing RT, just given my birthday. And most travel RTs, they would like you to have worked for at least 1 to 2 years, which
Right.
and I was looking at the RT rates across the country, and damn, does it fucking vary. Like, wow. Especially some places I can tell that they must be short RTs because the travel RTs get paid way more than the nurses.
COVID and the need for RTs has really helped that. Like there's a lot of people who travel from like Texas or Louisiana or Florida, and they take travel jobs in California because California pays really, really high. You get a stipend for your room and board, you get a food stipend. So basically everything that you're making, you get to save. That's a really good thing. One of my coworkers, they let him go to New York when COVID was like really big in New York. He left for maybe like 3, 4, 5 months. And I think he saved up like 80,000.
Casual,
like, hey, I'm back, and you know, but yeah, they if you take a travel job, you get paid more than the actual employees like there at the hospital. They pay more for you actually. So something traveling would be really good. They also have like an overseas travel agency, I think, where you would be in like Dubai. I thought about that. If I went there for like a whole year, because all the money out there is like tax-free, so you would be literally saving everything. They still give you your housing stipend, your food stipend, stuff like that, and you would be practicing medicine in a foreign country, and then come back, and I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? So
I was looking at that, and I was looking like I know every package is different, but I was looking a lot. The most common package I usually see is, you know, the weekly rate is anywhere between 13 to 2,000, literally just given America. And then the housing stipend is around 2,000. They give you 250. Ooh, that's the garbage truck. Don't be shook, Dallas. The food stipend is something, I'm giving rough estimates just of my obsession, but the housing, housing's like 2,000 a month. Food is like 250 a week. And also, I've watched videos of people who have been agents for travel, anything, travel nurses, travel OTs, travel OT therapy, like assistants and everything. And that got a lot of good information about like things to think about, but that's way further down the line. I do think
but that's how you should be thinking. That's how I thought.
Yeah.
Thinking certain type of ways keeps you motivated. It really honestly does. Yeah. So if that's what you have to do, I mean, it's good to plan. I knew what I wanted to do before I got respiratory therapy school. I told myself that if I was going to do this, I'm going hard and I'm going straight to the top. And that's exactly what I did. And none of I don't think any of my classmates thought like that. I don't think, like, I specifically chose, it's like, and that's where the whole, I can go on a whole nother rant, but that's what the whole manifesting my spiritual journey comes in, because I really feel like I manifested that. I did that, literally. I know I did that.
It was you. It was literally you. I don't know about anybody else manifesting anybody else's journey. But I do have a question.
Yeah.
I hear between nurses, I don't really hear a lot about RTs. I hear nurses eat their young. Do you find that RTs eat their young?
No. I think that there's certain types of people who do that. I did have, I've encountered so many different people, like coworkers in the field, and no, I definitely don't feel like that. I feel like people appreciate people who want to learn, who do have, you can tell if someone's made for this or not. And the thing about it is, skill is something that's taught.
Yeah.
People mostly care about your attitude. Are you teachable? Do you fit in with the rest of the coworkers? Or do you have a good attitude? Can you take constructive criticism? Because all of those things you're going to be in on the daily. So if you have a bad attitude, it's like, say if your man just broke up with you, whatever, your girl just broke up with you, and you are coming to work and bringing that funk to work, obviously people are going to pick up on it, and maybe no one wants to deal with that shit. You know what I'm saying?
It's real.
Like I've had the lady I told you that's retiring, she actually trained me for the first like a month and a half of my new grad program, and I fucking loved her. Like amazing, super nice, super patient, teach you anything, any question, really open, really honest, really helpful, approachable. And then I went to the ICU and I went to this dude, and he was a total opposite. But I think it was like, I don't know, like just a personal thing. I don't think it was anything with me. I just think that maybe old boy's just not, like approachable like that. Or I mean, like, he's a cool dude. Now that I'm not training, now that I know him, you know what I mean? Cool dude. But people can come off a certain type of way, and I don't know if it's purposeful or, you know what I mean? That's just their methodology of training. I really honestly don't know. But there are certain people, my direct supervisors, absolutely not. They are, I'm telling you, like, just incredible.
You
like,
love your job.
helpful. Yes, like, absolutely not. There are certain people, like I said, where you give report and they're always asking you, like, so blah, 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 blah. Like, I've had a little encounter with one of my coworkers. He's older, way older, been at the hospital for maybe like 40 years. And he wasn't so nice. Like, he wasn't so nice. And I've had a couple of different encounters with him, like not nice to the point to where don't say hi, give them report. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense. And you're like, okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I feel like that's a personal energy, something going on. You know what I mean? I do take it personal because that's just how I am. But then when I sit there and think about it, I'm like, it's not me. Like, everybody likes me. Like, it's not me. It has to be them. So there are people, and there are some nurses that I've heard talk to their trainees like a little rudely, but I don't know if it is to be deserved, like, you know what I mean? Or, like I said, if that's their methodology for teaching, because we are taking care of people's lives. It's not something to be played around with. So it is something to be taken serious. But I think that it's also just best to communicate how you best learn. I can't learn in a hostile environment because I'll be sitting there thinking messed up shit about you the whole time. I'll be sitting there thinking, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't learn like that because I did have to tell my second trainer that I felt like he was being a little bit rude and condescending.
No, I'm glad you said that, because people will talk to women, especially Black women, any kind of way sometimes. Like, not even sometimes, it just happens. People just do it. And it's tricky because you're not in the position of power and you're like, okay, I don't want to have to check you, but you're about to get checked. Like, I don't have to raise my voice to get my point across. I don't want to have to put any bass in my voice, but I do understand when I think about like just what it is to move through the world as a Black woman. I can't imagine what it must be to move through the world when I think about what it is to move through the world as a Black woman, I can't imagine what it must be to move through medicine as a Black woman. But I also think what I think is there's nobody more prepared than a Black woman to do it. Like, there's nobody.
I think that the hustle is a bit different. Like, I definitely think that the hustle is a bit different because I know what I'm up against. And I also feel like I don't feel like it was an easier path, but they did tell me at one of my jobs that they're like, you're a hiring gold mine. And I'm like, why? And they're like, because they're like, you're a woman and you're Black. And they're like, we don't get a lot of those that actually apply. So, you know what I mean? And I have been volunteering there. They're like, hey, you're good people. It's like,
and did you tell them you're welcome? You should have said you're welcome.
I was like, thank you. Like, you know what I mean? And so, I mean, with that being said, I have witnessed she's not there no more, but one of my coworkers, like, being the Rachita that we that we are known to be. Like, she was just going off on the manager and saying, I'm not doing that, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, being a complete, not a disgrace, but just being an embarrassment, because there are Black people that do know how to be professional and take the opportunities given to them. And so, I mean, you have a little bit of both, and there's not that much melanin in the medical field. Maybe if I lived in like Louisiana or the Bronx, or you know what I mean,
Right.
something like that,
but still though, from what I understand, you are still in the greater Los Angeles County, and there's a ton of Black people there. Now, it's not as many as in Dallas because it's the South, but there's still like, it's not comparable. It's not equivalent. Like,
but still in the hospital, maybe it's at the specific hospitals that I work at, but in the hospitals, there's not that much melanin.
That's crazy, unless it's like a Nigerian doctor. And then you're like, okay. But also, I think like the one thing about that is when that happens, because I went to USC, which is predominantly white. Let me tell you, the freshman class when I went, 5%. Do you know what it's like to live in South Central and then go to a school that's 5% Black? You're like, I'm looking for a Negro here, there, anywhere. You can't find them. But it made me easily identifiable. And so I think about that for you too. Like, if you're one of the few melanated people in the place, everybody knows who you are. The patients, your coworkers, they know who you are. And when people know, if you're more easily identifiable, you get asked to do more because they can clock you quicker. They're like, oh yeah, that's Shelby. Like, oh yeah, that's Alyssa. Bitch, there's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but you saw me first, so I got asked.
She said Matthew, Mark. No, seriously, like, I do feel like, and I think it's a personality thing too. Like, if you have a really good attitude and it just radiates from you, and you can tell that you like what you do, honestly, I just feel like people gravitate towards you, and they gravitate towards that, and they will ask you to do things, but only because they know that they can count on you. Like, it's not to be taken like you getting irritated, like, damn, they always asking me, why me? But I feel like it's really a compliment to be, you know, at the end of the day, to be honest, because
they wouldn't ask you if they didn't
reliable.
If they didn't have to.
Exactly.
So my last question, because I promise you I'm not going to take your whole morning. My last question is something that caught me off guard was thinking about buying a stethoscope one day and carrying malpractice insurance. Did you feel funny? Did you feel weird when you got your first stethoscope and you had to get malpractice insurance?
We don't have.
Did you have to do that?
I don't think I have malpractice insurance.
Okay.
I don't think you gotta have all that. I think you do have to have insurance when you. Do I have malpractice insurance?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Honestly, no, look, I do whatever's required for obviously for my profession, but I remember having to have malpractice insurance while in school because we're basically practicing under someone else.
Did you do your clinicals your second of the RT, because your RT program, I know you said it was 4 years. You were in school for 4 years, but your RT was 2 years, right? And you did clinical your second year. So your second year, is that when you started going to like work in hospitals?
No, I started my clinicals the spring semester of the first year. So there was only one semester where I didn't have clinicals.
Oh shit. So you were like the very next semester you started going to hospitals.
Yeah. The very next semester we started on the floor. We were doing floor work. And then the summer semester, that's when we started ventilators. And then we had ventilators all throughout, and we would shadow different RTs and be assigned to like different areas of the hospital. So sometimes you know, I'll go in for school or whatever, I'll be in the ER with somebody, or sometimes I'll be in peds with kids, or NICU with babies, or you know what I mean?
How long is clinical? And not I know it's a semester, but like, was your clinical, I see people who say they went to the hospital at 6 a.m., but is it a whole day? Is it once a week? Is it twice?
They built us up. My first semester, I think it was just 6 hours. So it was from 6 to noon. And then I don't think we had class afterwards. I think it was just 6 to noon. And then as we started to get deeper into the program, like over the summer with the ventilators, it started to be whole shit. So 6 to 6:30.
Oh shit. So like, so when it was 6 to noon, you show up at the hospital, you're in your, I'm assuming like scrubs or your like your uniform?
Yeah. Scrubs. We had like a certain color we had to wear that they chose out. So we had scrubs. We had to wear the stupid ass white lab coat because my teacher is a nurse practitioner too. And I don't know, he's old fashioned. So he was like, I just like the way that the white lab coats look. So we had to wear stupid ass lab coats. But we talked him out of that because we were like, this is ridiculous. So we stopped wearing them at a certain point. But yeah, that they want you to have like a certain color shoes on, but they really didn't enforce that. No nails whatsoever. I couldn't have my nails done at all.
I get it.
And so like my last semester, then I was like, all right, cool.
But so when you showed up for clinicals, when it was the shorter shifts, like the 6 to noon, I know every place is different. You never know what it's going to be like. But you show up and they basically like, you just follow an RT, or they're like talking you through it. Did you tour the hospital? Did somebody bring you back?
So like our very first day, we didn't do anything clinical. Like we did like these like computer-based modules or whatever, like to get in tune with the policies and stuff of the hospital. And then yeah, we definitely got a tour. We definitely went to the respiratory department, met some of the RTs. Like our first couple of days, we didn't do anything clinical. And then the second, like they eased us in, because then I think there were like 6 of us, and my teacher would just walk us into a patient's room, you know what I mean? Like literally all 6 of us. And be explaining, you know, oh, these are students and this is what we're here for. And like, so we would get to see how things should have been done before we actually went on our own. And sometimes like when it came to something simple like a breathing treatment, like it would be like all 6 of us, but then we'll be like, okay, I'm going to give this one. So, you know, everybody else would like wait outside or something, and then I'll go do it. And like, you know, even the heart rate, the vitals, all that stuff, and charting it and all that stuff, like, you know, just getting the hang of it. And then you end up slowly being like, oh, okay, you're going to go with this RT for the day. And so you're basically like all theirs, and you can do the work on your own. You know, I just think it's about really expressing whether you're comfortable or not, and just speaking up when you need help. I don't feel comfortable with this. I've never done this before. Can you help me? Can you walk me through? Can you teach me? I do feel like you need to be not aggressive, but it's your learning. It's your learning. I feel like I wasn't aggressive enough. But everything worked out in the end. But if I look back at it, I think I would definitely be more aggressive and act like I definitely would be more like I'm the only one in the class. Like, I need your attention right now. Help me. Instead of being considerate of everybody else, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's your knowledge. And once you're on your own, you're literally on your own. And you have to be confident, and you get all of these things with experience. But it's like, hey, if you can try to get as much as you can before you're actually on your own, then that'd be great. And it makes you a much more independent RT, actually.
I believe it. Also, we don't advocate. We're not taught to. We don't often speak up or advocate for ourselves. I have no issue with that. I'm the loudest person I know. But there's a difference between being loud and speaking up for yourself. So that is something that I will have to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Forward. Have you ever intubated anybody? Have you intubated a couple people?
I personally have never actually.
You haven't?
Intubated? No. We assist. Meaning that we get the tube ready, we check the cuff, we check the cuff, lubricate it, get the end title, get the anchor fast so we can secure it, put the stylet in there, get the glide scope for the doctor, like get the bag, you know, the ambu bag so we can bag the patient. We do all of that. The doctor puts the glide scope down the throat or whatever. You can see it's on video. And then you find the vocal cords, they stick the tube in. While the doctor has the tube in, we actually go on top, pull out the stylet, we fill up the syringe, we put the end title on, we bag, make sure that there's a change of color, and then we immediately get hold of the tube, and then we secure the tube. So we don't put the tube down the throat, but everything else before and after that and during we do help with. It depends on what hospital you're working at. My hospital actually has an intubation program, so you can be certified to actually intubate. And we do have some RTs who will be in like a code blue or a rapid response, and the doctors can't get the tube down the throat, and the RTs will do it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you had to, you could though. If you had to,
I feel like I'll be a little. I don't know. I never tried it. It looks easy, but then you see people not get it all the time.
It don't look easy. It does not look easy.
People doing multiple attempts all the time. So I don't know. I'm not trying to break nobody's teeth. I'm not trying to.
I hear about people intubating stomachs and stuff, and I'm like, stomach? How did you get to the stomach? Oh my God.
I don't know, because they're not using the glide scope properly. Glide scope is a little device that it has a video. So on the blade that you're sticking down, there's a camera. So
Yeah.
if you look, you can just see the vocal cords, and then it's like, you're seeing it go through the vocal cords. It's in the lung.
Yeah, I've had a laryngoscopy before because I have vocal cord polyps when I was really little, and I remember them being like swallow, swallow, which sounds inappropriate, but like you get used to it. But I remember my mother like couldn't take it, but I was fine. But I remember looking and seeing this little, like, it looked like this. I know this is my non-medical terminology. It looked something that looked like this as a small child, and saying, "What is this?" And the doctor was like, "Your vocal cords." I'm like, where are all these? So it's dangerous. You can break teeth and like fuck up people's vocal cords.
Yeah, you definitely can.
Don't look easy.
You definitely can.
So I believe you though. I believe that you could probably do it if you really had to. I would trust.
I think I probably could too, but I don't know if it'll be like the most smoothest going intubation. I think
Have you ever been intubated?
Huh?
Have you ever been intubated?
Nah.
Okay, it's fine. I've been intubated before. I was asleep. It was just like minor surgeries. It was minor surgeries, but I have been. It was fine. My throat was sore. It's not the end of the world.
Oh my God.
I don't remember. I was asleep.
Good. That just looks. It's a lot. It's really invasive. It looks like a lot.
I mean, that's life. That's life. But I mean, yeah. I've taken up a ton of your time. I told you like 10 minutes ago I wasn't going to take up too much, but I am.
It's okay, Alyssa. Honestly, thank you so much for calling me. I really appreciate it. If you ever have any other questions or anything, you're more than welcome to hit me up, honestly.
Very sweet. I tell you this, I'm not planning on coming. I'm moving back next summer to LA when I am in town. If you will allow me, I would absolutely love to take you to lunch or bring you something.
Let's hang out, girl.
I would love to bring you something.
Let's hang out. We can go after this COVID thing, because they closing all the restaurants here again on Wednesday.
Yeah, Gavin Newsom, he was about it. Gavin Newsom
had because I think 15% of all the new cases are coming from restaurants. So
I mean,
they're like, yeah, shutting it down, which I'm all for. Whatever. I'm trying to deal with it.
I will tell you this one last thing. I'm a little upset that your hair was laid this early in the morning. That wasn't right. That wasn't right. You can't do that. I'm sitting up here like, let me put my eyebrows.
Listen.
Oh, that's not fair because you came with the baby hairs. And I'm like,
literally, okay, I woke up like this and I did hook them up just a little bit because I was like, I don't know, I was looking a little crazy.
Oh, you woke up. You woke. I've been up for a while, like, I woke up, nails done, got my chain on, sweater.
I always stay with my jewelry on. I put my eyebrows on.
I don't want to hear it. I'm not here for the excuses. I'm sitting on the floor. I have my pajama bottoms still on. Do you see that? Pajamas. I'm not doing it. I don't want to hear it.
Flower leggings on too.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it when you come with baby hairs. I don't want to bitches with baby hairs this early in the morning. It's rude. It's rude. Thank you so much. Will you send me, if you have time or if you can condense it, will you send me this recording?
I will. And check on my YouTube because I'm going to put it on my YouTube. I'm going to try to get it up there right now today. People keep telling me to post videos, so I'm definitely trying to get this on there today.
You're fine. There's no rush. You take your time. You do whatever you need to do. But I really appreciate it because I could not go see any RTs in person. I really couldn't.
Yeah. No, I understand. So check there because I can't. What's your YouTube name so I can tag you?
I don't even know if I have a YouTube name, girl. I'm gonna have to create one.
Just check and then I'm gonna tag you, write a comment or something like that.
Okay. I don't think I have. I'll see if I have one. I don't think I do.
All right. Well, take care. Listen, you can hit me anytime, okay?
Thank you for all your help. You are so sweet. Please have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.